Greetings, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to let a few more people log on here. George, glad that you made it. Appreciate you joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Ron Spence is in the building. Hey, Ron, how are you? Can you hear me?
We're here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Good.
Absolutely. Let's see, we got people joining in. Greetings, everyone. Gentle ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. This is Mansa Jamel with the AI Global Legends, and I hope you all are making it a great day. And boy, do we got a show for you today. We're getting ready to turn it up a notch. We got corporate in the building. We got my man George Wright, Vice President of Limbic Arc and Zyto. And oh my God, we got some good stuff coming on, guys. We got the master distributor, Mr. Ron Spence, here as well, helping us out. And Dr. Cook, the CEO of Limbic Arc, is in the building.
Yeah, the founder, isn't that something?
That's the powerful move right there, guys. So without further ado, why don't you guys go ahead and put down in the chat where you're tuning in from. We want to see where you guys are tuning in from. Oh, we see Canada is in the house. Welcome, Canada. Welcome, Canada.
Hey.
Bay Area is in the house. Welcome, Bay. Hey, John MB is in the house.
San Diego SD.
Absolutely. Awesome. Poland is in the house. Welcome, Poland. Let's see here. We got so much going on. I can't keep up. We got Washington in the house. Wenatchee, Washington. Connie. Welcome, Connie. Harvey. What is that? Virginia's in the house?
Right.
Welcome, welcome. All you guys are welcome. California is in the house. Utah. All right. Awesome, guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. We got a nice lineup for you guys today. You know, we want to get you guys some good information about Limbic Arc, why we're so excited about this opportunity, and you guys get to hear from the people behind the scene that's making it happen, okay? That's making it happen. We got Washington again in the building. Hello, Julia. Welcome to the call.
Holla, holla, holla.
Albert is in the building from Washington. Welcome, welcome. Oh, man, this is going to be fun, George. This is going to be fun. I'm going to warn you.
Hey, I am up. I've got the seatbelt right here. We're ready to go.
Awesome, awesome. Texas is in the house. Julie Willits. Hey, my friend.
Just be careful that we don't blend holograms.
Right? Don't do that part. All right.
I mean, I just do a little bit too much thinking.
We got Stanwood, Washington in the house. We got some of your neighbors in the house, Albert. They're coming. Desiree from Kentucky. Welcome, Desiree.
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. We got, man, we got a lot of people coming in here. I want to welcome all of you guys to the call. Appreciate you guys coming in early. And we're going to give it a couple more minutes here before we launch and get started here. If you're chiming in for the first time, go ahead and put in the chat where you're chiming in from. We would like to know what part of the world you're tuning in from. Washington, Soleil, Washington, welcome.
I was just lucky.
We're so excited you're here too, Desiree. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, well, as long as you don't touch, you can look without touching. Oh.
All right, 1 second. All right, is that better? I hope so. My lighting is good. All right. Malik Amir's in the building. Welcome, Malik. Thank you for coming. Karen is in the building. Hello, Karen.
Hi,
Hope you're making it a great day.
great day.
Absolutely. All right. Did I miss Dr. Cook? Oh, there he goes. Dr. Cook chiming in from Utah, corporate office. Oh man, we got Atta from the UK.
Happening, people.
What's up, buddy? What's up? Thank you for joining us. Kaya from California. Welcome, welcome, Kaya. Dr. Von Cook is in the building in his natural habitat. How you doing, Dr. Von Cook?
Hey, Mansa, good to hear from you. Good to see you.
Absolutely. You too. You too. We're going to have a little fun here today. Let's see here. Oh, we got Muslima from the LBC in the Heezy. Welcome, welcome. All right, guys, we got one more minute and we're going to let it rip here. Jody Jackson, welcome to the call. If you guys could be so kind and mute your lines, we're going to get started here in 1 minute. We got a nice show lined up for you guys. And if you have any questions for Dr. Cook or George Wright, go ahead and place them in the group chat. And we will go ahead and address those as much as we can. All right, guys, we're at the top of the hour. Greetings, gentle ladies and gentlemen. Again, thanks for tuning in. This is Mansa Jamel with the AI Global Legends. And I'm excited for who we have today. We're bringing to the table for you guys so you guys can build that confidence level in what we have here, and for the new people so they can learn what we have here and learn about the foundation of what we have here and why we're so excited, you know, to be here with these guys. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, hey, welcome for Ron for joining us as well. Ron Spence, he's the master distributor of Limbic Arc. He's one of the first pioneers in the game with us. And Ron, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We hear you. We hear you.
Good.
Well, man, we appreciate you joining us, man. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just help everybody. If they have any questions, you know, maybe you can help us out with some of the questions in the chat box. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our good friend, Mr. George Wright, Executive Vice President of Limbic Arc and Zyto. And guys, this guy, Mr. Wright, has been with Dr. Von Cook for a decade, 10 years, guys. So he knows all the goodies. He knows it all, right? He's also been awarded the Clio Award. The Clio Award is huge. It's like one of the most prestigious awards that you can get in this industry. And he also has been on the Today Show, you know, and this is today's show. So without further ado, Mr. George Wright, are you there?
You're on mute, George.
Mike, buddy.
Okay, I am here. Yes, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, we here.
Wow, what
There
an honor to be here with you guys today. I appreciate the invite.
Hey man, you're super welcome here. You know, we're here at the AI Global Legends. We want to make sure we bring, you know, the team, you know, the people that's really behind the scenes here, that's pulling all the strings and making sure that the company is stable and sturdy, you know?
Well, and I appreciate that. You know, it's exciting. It's exciting to see everybody, and it's exciting for us. You know, we work so hard on the corporate side to make sure we're building a foundation that you can count on, that you can rely on. And so I appreciate you guys taking the time, you know, to make sure that everything's right. You ought to kick the tires. You ought to make sure that everything's the way it ought to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, without further ado, Mr. Wright, won't you tell us a little bit about your story and how did you meet Dr. Cook? And how did this whole fiasco start?
Well, it started about 10 years ago, actually. I knew very little about this industry and met Dr. Cook. And, you know, we hit it off. And I started working at the time doing some marketing for the Zyto side of the business. And again, that's been about 10 years ago. Since then, it's been a whirlwind ride. We've started doing some marketing. We started growing some things, and I've been through several different positions. And few years ago, Dr. Cook asked me to go and build up our overseas business with Zyto. And so I spent a little bit of time all over the place, setting up businesses in Europe, and we've traveled the world together.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of fun. In fact, I could tell you lots of stories. More than anything, it's fun to be able to spend a lot of time working with people who are true thought leaders, which is one of my most amazing experiences. To be able to spend time with people that are changing the world is amazing. We all want to change the world in our own little way. And some of us can do that in amazing ways, and some of us can do it in global ways. And to see Dr. Cook doing what he's been doing from a global perspective. I remember when we were setting up our offices in Ireland, we were setting up all of our Europe business. We were setting up things in Australia, things in China, things all over the globe. Boy, there are a lot of people that have been affected by this work. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of people that are living their lives in a stronger way because of Dr. Von Cook. And so to be able to see that firsthand for the last 10 years has really been amazing. Trying to keep up with him is quite a challenge for sure. But as we do that, one of my strengths is to be able to go and to make sure that everything that we do functions. Dr. Cook is the visionary, and he's setting the goals and the agendas, and he's driving the technology. And I'm trying to do everything that I can to make sure that we can build a foundation of a business that will sustain that vision and that drive that he has. And so sometimes they let me out to talk to you guys.
He let you out the hopper, huh?
Well, George didn't, Mansa, he didn't tell you that we recruited him right out of high school, too.
Oh, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I'll tell you a story. I literally, Dr. Cook has been studying this for well, let me explain it to you this way. When you start talking about homeopathy and traditional Chinese medicine and all of these things, it just comes so naturally and easily to Dr. Cook. And he has learned things that have literally been forgotten by the Chinese. I kid you not, I went with him once to Shanghai, and we were in China at TCM University, and he was teaching traditional Chinese medicine to the Chinese. And
Wow.
For him to have taken all of the things that he's learned, and a lot of people have forgotten this stuff. There have been people who have understood wellness from a holistic perspective, and for some reason we've forgotten it, for whatever reason. And to bring it back like he's done is just been a really, really fun thing to see. I could brag all day long about Dr. Cook.
That is super awesome right there. So let me ask you this, George. Where do you see the company in the next, 5 years?
We're on a record right now. I tell you what, this 2020, a lot of people have had a rough 2020. I'm telling you, not Limbic Arc. Limbic Arc is really on a tear right now. Every day is a record day here. Wow. And so it's been so exciting to see that. We just finished up a great, what was it, April? We're into May now. And May is just taken right. What is Cinco de Mayo today? It's like
Cinco de Mayo.
We're 5 days in, and already, again, looking at our past history, it's just outrageous what's happening. So 5 years from now, wow, guys, I think 5 years from now, everybody here that's on this call is going to be able to talk about how they've had personal interaction with Dr. Von Cook, and how you were some of the ones that started off in an opportunity that's just taken off and taken the world by storm. We are in the early days of this. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Awesome. That is huge right there. I mean, I'm sure all the listeners are, excited to hear that, excited to know that we have a sturdy company. And one of the questions that always pop up, George, is like, say something happened to Dr. Cook, our legend here, what do we have in store and process for that?
Well, that's a great question. Again, keep in mind that Dr. Cook's company, Zyto, has been around for quite a number of years. And so during those years, we have become a leader in the industry for sure. But also we have made associations with other leaders that are friendly and they're great for us. And we've got very deep roots on the Zyto side. We've got some of the best knowledge literally within the four walls of this company, within Zyto and Limbic Arc combined. And so we've got a lot of depth. There's no worries. Plus, Dr. Cook is about 5 years ahead of us all, right? And
Ooh, that's
so
power.
we've got 5 years worth of work just in what we've got right now. It's going. You know? Then you get people that we associate with, like Ron Spence, our master affiliate, and these are people who are brilliant and they understand things that a lot of people take for granted. We try to make it easy. We try to create videos and try to get you inside the head of how this works. And, some people can understand that. Sometimes those videos are a little bit complex. And, with time, I think we'll all understand it a little bit better. That's our goal, is to keep training and coaching and helping you understand why this works as amazingly effective as it does. But there's a lot to do. We got a lot on our plate. There's a lot more coming, so buckle up.
Wow. That's amazing right there. Is there anything else you want to add to that before you bring on our man?
Well, I would just say, we're deeply blessed and honored to have you guys working with us. I truly believe that the things that you're doing right now, will become, let's see, what's the saying? Things are never obvious until they've been done.
Mm.
And what's going to be obvious in 5 years is just not obvious today. It is to the leaders.
Right.
It is to the people who are in the beginning, and they see it coming. And I think that what we're doing right now will become increasingly obvious to everybody around us. And so, we're at the beginning of a really fun ride. Again, my job is to make sure that everything functions the way it does, that we can keep things going and keep Dr. Cook in his space of creating and building. So,
in his natural habitat, right?
yeah, we've got some great tools. We've got a great customer service group. We've got some great marketing support. I'm telling you right now, I've been around the business a little bit on the marketing side. I've seen a few things in my day. I've done some pretty fun marketing things with social media and other things. Clio Awards. I've been all over the world doing stuff, and I'm telling you that what I'm seeing right now with Limbic Arc marketing is as good as I've seen anywhere. I'm pretty excited.
You got the silver and gold publication, right?
Yeah, I worked for a company that made blenders, and we did a bunch of social media work. I would put out videos, guys. I'd get 1 million views in 3 hours in the early days of that campaign, and so I know what it takes, and I've seen good marketing, and I've seen kind of marketing that just moves along a little bit. But I'm telling you, we've got some driven, exciting people that are doing good things, and you might want to check out. I think we posted a new video just the other day about Spark Scans, or was it Friends and Family Plan? And there's some great things. I know that we've just retooled our onboarding program. So if you're signing people up right now, they're going to have a much smoother job coming on board than you did. We're just making things better every day. So.
I see that. We're getting follow-up emails coming in now, that kind of give you step-by-step on how to, set your system up, your Spark Scan up, and kind of time everything. I like that.
Jamil, what we do, Dr. Cook will talk in a minute, and he understands this. It's just simple to him. Well, for most people coming on board, this might be our first experience into this world, and it might seem a little overwhelming and a little complicated. And it's hard to make difficult concepts appear to be easy, but that's our commitment. We want to make this as easy as we can so that you can talk with confidence to people around you, and have that intelligence and have the tools that you need to be successful. So,
wow, that's powerful right there, and that's what we're looking for. We want to be able to speak to their teams, to the public, with confidence, and no fear, and I think that's what That's why we're putting everybody together in this group so we can, be able to articulate our questions and everything with you guys and learn from you guys, And you guys been doing a phenomenal job. Trust me. We love everything that you guys are doing, and we're going to continue to grow and build with you guys. We love it.
Well, and I tell you what, from my side, I love to hear your stories. When you have success out there, look, this stuff is life-changing. It can literally be make your life to a completely new level, and we love to hear those stories. So keep them coming. And
absolutely, we're gonna hear a few stories today. How about that? I'm sure somebody's gonna share some stories. All right. Okay, George.
Can I introduce Dr. Cook? I've told a few stories already. It's a lot easier to talk about other people than it is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, I really believe that there'll come a time when knowing Dr. Cook and having been able to be in an intimate setting like we have, where you're hearing from Dr. Cook, is really going to set you apart. It's almost like you're in the ranks of some famous people here. A lot of people in the world might not know it yet, but they will.
Right.
And so when I talk about Dr. Cook, that's what I feel, and I learn from him every day. He's got a passion and a drive that's infectious, and he's committed to changing the world. And so my friend Dr. Cook, I've seen him literally, people come in tears talking about how they've changed so many ways, starting with Zyto and now with Limbic Arc. I mean, you're literally talking about somebody who has his goal to change the lives of billions of people. Think about that for a minute. That's his passion, that's his drive, and I'll introduce him as my friend, Dr. Von Cook.
Hey, welcome, Dr. Von Cook.
I want you to know I recorded this conversation between you two, so it'll be played at my funeral.
Well, they know we love you, man.
Hey, I love you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, that'll be about 600 years from now, right? Because you're just a hologram. You'll make it.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Mr. Von Cook, I appreciate you coming to the call, my man. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, it's fun to be here.
Hey,
Awesome.
Hey, Vaughn.
Yes, Ron.
Vaughn. Yeah. Hey, before the call yesterday, Mansa called me and he wanted me to introduce you guys. And I didn't know if I was going to be here today on this. And I kind of showed up, and of course it didn't work that way, but here's what I was going to do. So you guys, this is going to be funny. I was going to say, when he asked me to do that, I said, geez, I have no idea who these guys are. Oh, I've never met these guys before. Oh, wait a minute though. Let me, I'm going to go onto my, my app. Okay. And I have a special boost in here. It's called Brain Boost. I'm going to hit that. Just hold on for a second. Oh, now I know who these guys are. Okay, that's how I was going to introduce you guys. So, Mansa, you missed out a great opportunity there.
Man, I was thinking about it. I wasn't sure. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Awesome. Hey, Dr. Cook, why don't you tell everyone, your story? How did you get into this quantum energy space?
It started about, it started a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I had bad allergies, and that's not a fun thing to have, but it turns out that it worked to my benefit. When I was a teenager, my allergies were so bad that I couldn't get any kind of prescriptive relief. It actually worked out where I had 3 different prescriptions, and I would take one drug for 2 days. In 2 days, I would acclimate to it. So I would then switch to the second drug, take that for a couple of days, and then switch to the third one in a couple of days. And I just rotated through it. And in doing that, it allowed me to kind of keep things at least livable. Fortunately, as I got a little bit older, I actually outgrew those allergies. And then I got married, and my wife and I had a few kids. We moved down to Las Vegas, Nevada, and when we got down there, my allergies came back with a vengeance. And I tried some of the old things. Nothing was working. And one day I was talking to my neighbor, a guy named Bill Roberson, who was a dentist, and I was just whining, I guess, probably about my allergies. And he said, well, it's probably just something in your yard you're not used to, and that's why you've got the allergies. And he said, I've got this equipment that I use in my clinic. It's not part of my practice, but it's kind of a hobby. But I'll tell you what, if you'll break a twig off of everything in your yard and come down to my clinic tomorrow at 5 o'clock when the doors close, I'll test you and we'll see what you're reacting to. So the next day I showed up. I had 3 big grocery bags full of twigs, and Bill pulls this machine out of his cupboard, and it's basically an ohm meter. And I'm holding on to a brass handle, and he's got this stylus in his hand, and he's pushing the stylus against some acupuncture points on my hand. Of course, I had no idea what he was doing. It was a weird experience, but Bill was a credible guy, and I had allergies so bad that I'd try anything. And so he explained what he was doing. And as in between the stylus touching the acupuncture point, he would put a twig on top of his instrument, which had a metal, he called it the test plate. And when he was done, when he tested everything in the 3 bags, he said, the only 2 things you're reacting to are oleander and pyracantha. And I thought, well, that's possible, because those are new things. Didn't have them where we moved from. And so he then went over to his cupboard again, and he pulled out another piece of equipment, and he pulled out a little bottle, a dropper bottle with a squeeze top on it, and a 1/5 of vodka. And he poured some vodka into this little amber bottle. And then he took the oleander and the pyracantha twig, and he put them in this instrument he pulled out, had 2 plates on top. And he put the twigs in one side, and he put this bottle with the alcohol in it in the other side. And he twisted some dials, and then he said, okay, we're going to sit here for about 5 minutes. And he told me what was happening was this instrument's taking the energy from the twigs, and it's programming it onto the water molecule, the alcohol molecule. And I remember thinking, this is crazy.
It's sound.
But you know, I was desperate, and and again, Bill was a credible guy. He had a successful practice. He didn't seem like a weird guy to me. Right. So then he got through, and he said, okay, take this bottle and put 10 drops of this stuff under your tongue 3 times a day. So I went home, and every day, 10 drops 3 times under my tongue, and nothing really happened until the 10th day. And on the 10th day, my allergy symptoms they just turned off completely. I tell people it's kind of like God stuck his finger up my nose and turned the valve off. It was so dramatic. My brain stopped itching, my throat stopped itching, my ears stopped itching, my nose stopped running, everything stopped. And because of all of the years I had dealt with allergies, nothing had ever done anything like that. I thought, no, there's no way this crazy stuff can't have done that. And so I thought, I'll bet it's just the flowers. They just stopped blooming today. So I went out front. The pyracantha were out front. They were just going crazy. And I went in the back, and the pyracantha, they were still going crazy. The only thing that really explained it was this crazy stuff that Bill had given me. And Bill then introduced me to another medical doctor in Las Vegas. His name was Fuller Royal. Fuller owned a clinic called the Nevada Clinic of Preventive Medicine. And Fuller and I got to be good friends as well. And he introduced me then to a physicist, a fellow named Roy Curtin. And Roy lived here in Utah, and he owned a company that built the kind of equipment that Bill used to test me for the allergies, except they had computerized it. And so I went to work for Roy's company, and that was probably, that's about 36 years ago. Oh, wow. And so, it was back in the days when people really didn't understand computers. But what what this company had developed was the ability to take the twigs and computerize them. So you didn't actually put the twig on the test plate anymore. You would just access the computer code, and you could test it virtually. So I worked for that company for a while. Then I started my own company, and I built some similar equipment. I actually built the first piece of equipment like that was registered with the FDA. And so I've been dealing with energy medicine for 36 years. And over the course of those 36 years, I've developed a number of pieces of technology. Actually, the first Limbic Arc I built back in the late 90s. It was built as a learning accelerator. And what we found was we could take a digital file, so like a textbook, so like a chapter in a textbook, and we could download that information into a carrier and then use a laser beam to inject it into the body. And if you would take the download of the data that way and then study the chapter, you actually would score 10 to 30% better on a test than if you didn't get the download. Well, this was back in the late 90s, and the delivery mechanism was not as elegant as what we have today. But I thought, gosh, this is going to be a great consumer product, and so I went out and started talking to people about it, and their eyes would immediately glaze over. It was just like I might as well have been talking Martian to them. And so after building some of that equipment and selling some, we tabled it because the market wasn't there, because people weren't informed enough. They weren't comfortable enough with this whole concept of quantum. And then a couple of years ago, Ron Spence, who he and I have known each other and been friends for probably 25 years, haven't we, Ron? My guess. It's been a long time. I've known Ron a long time. And Ron called me and said, hey, I've got some technology I want you to have a look at. And we got talking, and I said, gosh, we could do a better job than this. And so that was kind of the birth of the Limbic Arc. And here we are.
Wow.
That was a long answer to that question, but that's how it got started.
And we appreciate that, because the details are so phenomenal. We want to hear those details right there, you know. I mean, that sounds crazy. You was actually dropping some drops underneath your tongue, and it actually went away from there?
Yeah. You know, what we're dealing with is information, and your body runs on information. And so information, the definition of information is what is conveyed by an arrangement of things. Well, if you think about the energy in the bottle, and I think going back to what Bill Roberson did for me when he took the twigs and the little dropper bottle, that machine probably programmed, kind of like a floppy disk or a hard disk gets programmed, where you actually change the molecular arrangement. You don't change the structure. So he didn't do any alchemy kind of thing, but the information was written on the molecule. And then when my body ingested it, it recognized that information, or that information had an effect. And because your body is designed to operate on information can create a physiological response. And so essentially, I'm giving my body 3 times a day the instruction that says, this is how you should deal with oleanders and pyracantha. And after 10 days, my body finally got the message, made the adjustment, and boom, I was not allergic anymore to it. So it actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, it sounds weird because it's new, but when you get into the science behind it and all the principles that come to bear, it's pretty logical.
Wow. That's amazing. So we do have a couple other questions here. I had some people that sent me in some questions. So you have time for a few questions, Dr. Cook?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get this party started. You know what? Since Albert he follows directions so good, how about Albert? Let's let you ask your first questions. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Albert.
All right. Thank you so much. Man, this is exciting. Dr. Cook, my daughter was severely allergic to things like milk and everything. We went to a CRA person, a contact reflex analysis, and they had little vials of like what was supposed to be the milk information, which I didn't understand it at the time. But my daughter was so young that I sat her on my lap, and the doctor would touch my spine all the way down, introducing that into my force field, basically my energy field. And I also had a milk allergy, but she was treating my daughter. and I got some benefit from it, but my daughter stopped having that issue. So I'm hearing and recognizing some of the same kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
But the question is, I had this elbow removed. This is the piece, and July 23rd, I'm going to go get X-rays again. I would love to talk with you, maybe if it has to be in private sometime. Is there a combination boost that would help stimulate bone growth? Because I'd love to see it grow back. Because it'd just be a great, not only just because it would be cool to have it back, but it would prove, it would be a story to tell. It would be, you know, the doctors would be like, holy crap, how'd that happen? You know, I don't know. It's just an idea I had. Is there a way to grow body parts with limbic arc? Would be the generalized question.
Bone growth.
Well, that's a great question, and which I appreciate you asking, Albert. I've got to begin answering it by giving the disclaimer. The limbic arc is not a medical device, and
Nope.
and it doesn't diagnose or treat any medical condition. And in fact, we don't make any claims about it because we're not cleared by the FDA to make claims, and frankly, we're not interested in getting clearance because it's not a medical device. So, so would it grow bones back? I don't know that it would. I've never heard of anybody doing that.
The quantum field is crazy.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's, you know, your body got grown one way. I mean, you know, after you were conceived, your body grew, and it took a certain amount of intelligence, I'm sure, to do that, and information. And so it's possible, at least as I think, that you could do that. But I mean, you think about it, if you cut yourself, your body patches the cut and you grow back. And that's kind of the same thing you're talking about here. So I would think if you're robustly healthy, you're going to heal faster, and part of that healing could be growing bones. But I would be hesitant to make any claim or inference that the limbic arc would do that.
Absolutely. No. Yeah. I'm not asking for guarantees. I do know that I forgot my phone at home once, and I usually would turn on allergy when I'm around flowers. And it was almost as if I don't know if it's possible. I know that at some point our entire goal would be to not have to use the limbic arc system because they're like training wheels for our brain, right? But I feel like after 10 minutes of being at the market where I was at, and I didn't have my phone, but I mentally went through that process of activating the allergy one, and it has worked before where all of a sudden 10 minutes later I'm done, I'm dried up, I don't have the boogers. So it was almost as if I was able to activate it without actually having the phone on me.
Interesting.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, people, a common question I get asked is, do I have to have my phone with me for the Info Boost to work? And I say, well, once you've turned it on, no, you don't. You can leave you could go to the Northern Territory and leave your phone home and you'd still get the benefits of the Info Boost. But that's a good story. That's interesting, Albert.
Thanks for that, Albert. All right, let's see here. We got one more question here. Well, not one more. We got a few of them here, actually. Let's see. So one here is saying, Dr. Cook, could you please clarify for me if I run 3 boosts at one time, including the custom on demand, and there are overlapping or duplicate ingredients, does that matter?
No, it wouldn't matter. I can go into more explanation. In fact, let me go into more explanation.
Okay.
Sometimes people will ask, how come you limit the limbic arc to 3 Info Boosts? Why didn't you give us 7 or 8 or 10? The reason we limited it to 3 is because my experience is you can actually you can overdo it with this stuff. You can give yourself too much information, and your body actually will create, negative symptoms, or you'll have a negative reaction. And it's not like you're going to kill yourself, but too much of a good thing isn't necessarily a good thing. So as part of the control on that is we limited it to 3. Now, if you go in and you do 3 Info Boosts, actually the easiest way to tell you this is tell you how I use it. Okay. I have an Info Boost that's a kind of a background. I call it my constitutional Info Boost. That runs all the time. So I set it for 14 days, and I'll go in and if I'm interested in, say, immunity, or if I'm interested in energy, whatever I'm interested in, I might select that as the beginning point, but then I always do a spark scan to go with it. And when I get through the spark scan, then let's say I've picked immunity as my info boost, I'll look at the top results, and I'll take the top 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 ingredients that show up there, because I know those are ingredients that actually will have an effect on immunity. But then I scroll down the list, and you get down there and it says all ingredients, and I expand that and open it up. And usually what I'll find is there are other things that were scanned in the library that have a higher score than the things at the top of the immunity list. And so I'll take 3 or 4 of those items and turn them on as well. Then I set my timer for 14 days, and I hit the activate button. And that becomes my constitutional info boost. Then during the 14-day period, if there's anything that pops up that I just need kind of a booster shot, you might call it, if I need just a short-term boost,
Right.
then I'll go in and I'll do just a custom boost. And the way that I take the custom boost and point it towards the particular issue I'm interested in is that when I talk about that issue. So let's say that I'm having a relationship problem with someone. Then I would talk about that relationship and the problem. And because voice is topic specific, the energy in my voice when I talk about the relationship will put into the spark that information. Now, if I was having a problem with, say, hey, I need some more cash to pay my bills, I would talk about that. And that energy then goes into the spark, and it makes the spark not only specific to me, but specific to the topic that I'm speaking about. And so I'll go in and I'll then take the results of that scan, and I'll take maybe the top 3, 5. I usually don't go below 90%, but that's just me. I tend to err on the side of fewer things than more things in my info boost. So I'll take the top few items, and I might turn that one on for just 3 or 4 days, because let's say the relationship is an acute situation, or I need the money in about 5 days. Well, I don't need that info boost turned on forever. Right. I just need it turned on until the bill comes due. So, so that's the way I use the 3 boost combination.
Okay, awesome. Excellent articulation there. I appreciate that. So you know what? We're going to go back to the chat, and we see Tony. Tony has a question. Tony, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Cook. Hi, George.
Hello, Tony.
How's it going?
Good. Glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. I'm very, very excited. Haven't been on for very long. I've only been my husband and I have been using the boost now. I just had my 3rd scan, my 3rd spark scan. So that would be starting my 3rd week, or I guess my end of my 3rd week, because totally different than the first 2. It's like mind blowing, like night and day. So I keep track of everything. Same with hubby, like ridiculous. So our question is, the question we get asked a lot is, does this mean that we don't have to take our supplements anymore? You know, all those physical supplements that we've all paid for and done and all that, you know, especially when you do a spark scan. The thing that's shocking is, like, if you're taking a specific supplement and all of a sudden you're doing the spark scan, and like in the top 10 during your spark scan, like 3 of the ingredients that show up are specific to your supplement. You're kind of going, now I'm questioning my supplements.
Well, okay. It's a great question. I'm just pondering, because I'm where to start here. In clinical practice, I've had equipment that does things similar to what Bill Roberson did for me, things that similar to what we do today with the limbic arc. And on more than one occasion, I have had a patient who has been diabetic who comes in and their problem is they're becoming more and more insulin resistant. And by then taking insulin and preparing an energetic equivalent at a homeopathic dilution, I've been able to reduce their resistance so that they can lower their dose of insulin and still get the same result. Now, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but the bottom line is sometimes we ingest things and our body just quite doesn't know what to do with it. But if we can get an instruction set that goes with it, our body then says, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do with this, like the insulin. I had another experience. A woman came in. She, you know, I sat down and went through the health history, and she was presenting all of the symptoms of scurvy. And so I said, do you get any vitamin C? And she said, yeah. Well, then she started naming her, and she was taking vitamin C, and she was eating plenty of food with vitamin C. But she was still showing all the symptoms of scurvy. And when I did a scan on her, I found that she balanced with vitamin C. Didn't make any sense other than what she was presenting. So again, by preparing the right information packet for her, I gave that to her and all of her symptoms went away. Now, what does that mean as far as when you take supplements? Let me just tell you what I do. I take a lot of supplements, and I have for a long time. And even today, you know, I'll take probably 20 vitamin pills between the morning and the evening. And the reason I do that is because you have to have chemistry as well as information. And if let's say that I'm taking a vitamin C, but vitamin C shows up on my info boost, I don't know that it may mean I need vitamin C chemically, or it may mean I need a better instruction set to help me use the vitamin C that I'm already taking. So quite often what you'll find is with an info boost, you'll get more bang for the buck out of your supplements. So you might be able to ratchet back your budget a bit and get, you know, you get more longevity out of the purchase. But I still would say take supplements. I do. I think it makes a difference for me.
So in saying that, in saying that you take the supplements, how do you determine what supplements you take? Because we talk about this a lot, about the conscious mind versus the subconscious. Your conscious mind doesn't really know what your body wants. You think you know what it wants, but the body's is its own innate intelligence. Mm-hmm. And it knows better than you do, basically.
Well, on the Zyto side of our business here, which is a separate business, but Zyto, right, we actually build equipment that scans for supplements. And so I'll run a scan on myself about every 90 days, and then I'll order in the supplements that show up on my scan. Another way you could do it with Limbic Arc, frankly, is you could run a Spark scan, and the items that show up at the top of the list, I think you would be not ill-advised to actually take those as supplements in addition to using it for the info boost. So you could do it that way as well.
That's a good idea. So basically, it's kind of like you should always be checking, because I know some people just keep taking the same thing over and over again, like you had mentioned, but it really is not that purposeful if your body's gotten to a certain point because it's already molecularly changed. So it's really important to keep sparking, to keep seeing what else. Yeah.
It is, but I would be, if I was using Limbic Arc as kind of my guide to what supplements I should take, I would only do that spark about every 90 days.
Okay.
Because your body energetically moves very quickly, but chemically it does not. It takes a couple of weeks. Right. When you start taking a vitamin, it'll take a couple of weeks possibly for you to get the full benefit of that vitamin. And it's just because your chemical body is slower to respond than your energetic body. If you change too quickly, you'll actually make yourself sick. I've seen that happen with some of our doctors. over the years, when you have the ability to test yourself energetically and you try to implement a chemical solution before your body has a chance to adjust, you actually damage yourself instead of help yourself. So don't change your vitamins too often, but I do about every 90 days. I'll run a scan, and I have some that I take all the time, but then I adjust the rest. And
that's
it fits
interesting.
whatever.
It's just kind of like when you test them on your body. You know how you can do a muscle testing on your own body?
Yeah.
Kind of like the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So it's basically along the same thing. I will say one thing that I find very fascinating about the Spark scan. I think the most impressive part about this, even if it didn't include any of the ingredients, which are phenomenal, over 450, and the mushrooms are the bomb, by the way, loving them.
Good.
I am absolutely dumbfounded at the things that we are unaware of, because my third scan brought up 5G at 86%. I was in shock. That blew my mind.
Well, and another great good question. Let me take it a little bit further. 5G is in there. It's in a category called imponderables. And an imponderable is a category of homeopathic remedy. Homeopathy is based on what is called the law of similars, which means like cures like. Samuel Hahnemann, the guy who's considered the father of homeopathy, discovered that if you take a substance and you feed it to a healthy person and you feed it in pharmacological doses, they will eventually start to manifest a symptom pattern.
Okay.
If you then take that same substance and you dilute it to a homeopathic dilution, at the right dilution, when you get a patient who comes in and they present with that symptom pattern, you can give them the homeopathic remedy and it actually will correct the symptom pattern. And it's also based on this idea that a symptom is your body's best attempt to deal with whatever it's dealing with. So when you get a cold, you get a fever, you get a runny nose, you get a cough. Well, why do you get those things? Well, you get a fever because that's your body's natural way to kill bacteria and viruses. You get a runny nose because your body's trying to get rid of the garbage. You get a cough for the same reason. So all of those symptoms aren't bad things. They are your body's expression of how it's dealing with its current state. So if I can give you a remedy that if we give it to you in large doses would create those same symptoms, what I'm doing is I'm just giving your body a little bit of a horsepower kick to help it with the fever and the cough and the runny nose. And that's how homeopathy works. So a 5G imponderable it doesn't necessarily mean that you are living in this place where you're getting a super overdose of 5G. Now it could mean that, but it could also mean that you're expressing a symptom pattern that would be common if you were in that place. And when you get the 5G Info Boost, it actually helps move you through that symptom pattern, whatever the cause. And so because of this, because of these things, that's one of the reasons we can't make any claims as to diagnosis or treatment, is because you could show 5G and not have any exposure to 5G. You might have exposure to something else, but it's creating a 5G kind of reaction in you. And if that's not the case and you get the Info Boost and you feel better, does that mean we're curing this exposure? And the answer is, we don't know. So we can't claim that. So
yeah, 'cause I know that I had a couple of that showed up. It was the microwave that showed up and a cell tower imponderable that showed up as well.
yeah.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because it didn't show up before. My first one, 5G, showed up, and then the second one it was ultraviolet and something else, and then this time it was the microwave and the 5G were back again.
Interesting. You know, I find the same thing as I do my constitutional spark scan. I find that there are some things that show up in the top almost all the time.
Interesting.
And they're not 5G, but there are other remedies. And, you know, some of them, I look at them and I think, you know, it makes perfect sense. I mean, this is probably something that I just need, you know.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because for me, I've known about all the things that you can't see that are dangerous, thanks to my mother, who is an avid researcher on so many things on so many levels for 33 decades. So I'm very, very well aware of all of this. And this is why I gravitated so quickly when I was introduced to this wonderful technology that you created, because it just made so much sense after listening to my mother for 30 years.
Yeah.
So she's not crazy.
I know, you know, that's the problem with moms. The problem with moms is they get smarter as we get older.
Yeah. The thing that's exciting for me is that it can be used with everybody, including children. We don't have to guess anymore what they're going through. And that to me is so powerful. So thank you very much for answering my question. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony. That was awesome. Wow, we're getting really close to the top of the hour, guys. But you know what? We want to get a couple quick testimonials for Dr. Cook so he can hear what's actually going on out here in the field.
Love to hear it.
Call to the stage Malik Amir. Are you there? Unmute yourself, please.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, my journey with Limbic Arc began on December 11th, and I was introduced to this amazing technology by Jamel. And when he first introduced it to me, he introduced it to me in such a way where it was about personal development, enhancing your mindset, and those type of things. So when I first tapped into the Info Boost, one of the first things I tried was focus, also energy, and prosperity. So those were the 3 boosts that I was using. And to my surprise, I didn't know the mechanics of this or how it was going to work out or anything like that. But the first thing that really happened for me was that I was able to get off of energy drinks and coffee, because I had an extreme, I guess you can call it an addiction or an obsession for all of these type of energy drinks and coffee and things like that. So that was the first major thing that happened for me. I was able to get off of all the coffee and energy drinks. I had natural energy that was coming to me from the 0 point field. And I said, okay, well, this stuff actually works. And, you know, when I was 11 years old, I was also hit by a car and I broke my hip. So I was in a full body cast for 6 weeks. I wasn't able to move. So we didn't have the internet at those times. So my teacher would come to my house and things like that. And I was pretty much unable to move or do anything at that period of time. So once I got out of the cast, I had to learn how to walk all over again. So from that time period, I was suffering with a lot of pain. And then I got into a couple of major car accidents as well that contributed to that pain, where I was taking a bunch of ibuprofens, taking Flexerols to be able to go to sleep at night and things like that. So long story short, you know, I was taking a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs to cope with the pain that I had been dealing with ever since I was a child, going on through my adulthood. So once I figured out that, you know, the Info Boost was actually working, I decided that I wanted to try the pain relief Info Boost and also the sleep Info Boost, so that I can figure out if it could actually help me to deal with this pain. And lo and behold, once I started tapping into those 2 functions at night before I went to sleep, I would wake up feeling fully refreshed like a newborn baby. And today I don't have any pain in my body. And actually, I don't take any more pharmaceutical drugs. So I really thank you, Dr. Cook, for you know, inventing this revolutionary technology and helping me to get rid of pain that I've been dealing with since I was 11 years old.
Wow.
Thanks, Malik. That's a great story. I appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely. That was a great story, Malik. Huge. Okay, John MB, why don't you unmute yourself?
Unmute. I want to just give thanks to all for sharing their testimony, because we're all one and it's beautiful, y'all. Amen.
Thanks,
San
John.
Diego, Cali
Thanks.
Strong in the house. Hey, my bad. Yo, you're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome, Dr. Cook. Love you, man.
Love you too, John.
Yo. This
There
is
you
my
go.
flow.
John MB, guys, California. All right, looks like we have, let's see here. Thank you for that, John. Albert,
Hey, Jamel?
go ahead.
Yes. Yes, I also have a similar story like Malik's, but I was in a car wreck in 2015, and prior to that, I had childhood damage to my spine, along with this accident I had where I shattered my elbow, and I was in pain at least for the last 12 years, a 6 or an 8, and I was waking up 8 to 10 times a night, and nothing was working. I couldn't take drugs because they affected me mentally. I think I took some Deluxetine as a last straw at the last moment in November last year, and I lost my mind. I lost the 10 days. I don't know. I gained 22 pounds in those 10 days, and the pain never really went away anyways. So no drugs really work for me. And I tried even some THC, 1 drop, and I was high for 18 hours on 1 drop. And so when I started taking the Spark scan, the custom Spark, I did the pain and inflammation, and I have absolutely no pain now. And when I went to my naturopath, who I see about once a month, he did his muscle testing, and he was happy. He said, wow, you've been taking your Ligaplex and your calcium lactate and your Drenamin and all of these different products. They had me on 25 things, and he goes, well, we can cut out these and you can reduce these. And he goes, keep doing it. And I said, well, can I tell you a dirty little secret? And he goes, sure. And I said, I haven't taken your stuff for 3 weeks. And he goes, how's that possible? So I showed him the info boost on my phone, and he started reading through the ingredients. And he goes, well, that's in calcium lactate. That's in Drenamin. That's in this, that, and the other. And he's like, how? Now, my muscle testing says you need some liver support. Do they have this ingredient, and this ingredient? I said, I don't know. Let me look. So I created a Spark scan with those, and I activated it. And 10 seconds later, he muscle tested me again. And he goes, holy crap, you don't need any more liver support. And he goes, well, what if you turn it off? And I said, well, it's not a, cure-all instant. My hologram got lined up, but it'll take about 10 days probably for it to have full effect. But we could try. So I took it off, and he goes, well, you're right, but you only need half of what I was thinking you needed. So it was really interesting that, and then the naturopath signed up because he wants to help his clients using this system. So
That's
anyway,
great.
That's what I got.
Albert, you and Tony and Malik and John, your responses are fairly fast and profound. And I think that there are a lot of people who are energetically sensitive who that happens for. There are other people who aren't so sensitive, and they turn on an info boost and they go, well, I don't feel anything, and they may not feel something for a week or two. It may take them a little bit longer. I remember patients who would come into my clinic and I'd be sticking some acupuncture needles in them, and they'd say, how long is it going to take before I can feel anything happen? And I'd say, well, some people feel it after the first treatment. Most people feel it after the second treatment. And if we go 5 treatments and you don't feel any different, this probably isn't the place for you to be. You probably ought to be seeing some other doctor besides me. And I think as we introduce Limbic Arc to people, we should tell them, you may have a miracle, but don't be disappointed if you don't, because it may take a little bit of time for you to see a difference. And don't just pay attention to the reason you turned the info boost on. For example, you might say, well, I've got pain and I'd like the pain to go away. So you turn on the pain info boost and your pain doesn't go away. And so what you should pay attention to, and what you would want to remind people to pay attention to, is the subtle things in your life. For example, are you as grouchy as you used to be? They go, well, no, not quite. And are you sleeping better? Well, yeah, I am sleeping better, but I still have the pain. Okay, but those things are improvements, and it may be that the pain is a more foundational problem. And in order to get to it, we got to peel the onion. We got to get down these other layers, and you're going to notice those changes before you're going to notice this pain problem go away. So anyway, I'm rambling, Jamil, so sorry about that.
I like it when you ramble. It makes so much sense. It's genius.
Well, I love the mushrooms. I felt undefeatable for the first time in about 20 years when I activated them. I don't know what it was, but I woke up in the middle of the night snickering. I was like, I was laughing, and my wife's like, what's your problem? I'm like, I don't know, but it's funny. I don't know.
Well, hey, Dr. Cook, we really appreciate you joining us. We still got more questions, so we're going to have you come back so we can get these on. So maybe again next week we can have you come back onto our show, okay?
Let me know. I'd love to do it.
Absolutely. For those of you that absolutely love what we got going on here today and are so excited about all the information that you just got, let me see you put 111 in the chat to show the love for George and Dr. Cook. Look at them go. Look at them go. Look at them go. Awesome. Awesome. You see, they love you here, y'all. It's good. Really appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for next week, guys. We're going to put up the banner. And we got a ton of questions for you, Dr. Cook, but we know your time is valuable and we really respect your time. So we really appreciate you coming, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody help yourself and give thanks. And whoever,
Thank you, Dr.
whoever
Cook.
invited you
Thank
to
you,
this
Dr. Cook.
get back
Thank
to
you.
this person,
Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
signing out for the AI Global Legends. Peace and blessing, you guys.
Trump dummy, Trump dummy, Trump dummy.